Hey everybody, welcome to the third or fourth time I've had to record this. Because some days your equipment just hates you. Alright, Masters of the Universe, Revalation. This is the new series from Netflix, run by Kevin Smith. And tell me if you've heard this. This particular sci-fi or fantasy franchise is gaining a lot of controversy lately. Once again, we have something from our childhoods that is being remade, rebooted, sequelized, spin-offed, and people are upset. I feel like this subject just keeps coming up again and again every year with multiple properties. And this one is no different. So at the time of this recording, the show's already been out for like a week. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been having trouble with my equipment, and before that I was out of town, so I didn't really get a chance to put this out when I wanted to. So I'm not going to go too deeply into the whole Kevin Smith thing. I'm just going to cover it basically. What happened was, if you don't know, and you probably do if you're watching this, oh, and by the way, spoilers. Spoilers, because this being a TV show, I'm just going to get into spoilers. It's hard for me not to when I'm talking about TV. But anyway, a lot of people believe that Kevin Smith lied to the fan base because a lot of people believed that this was going to be a He-Man series, which made sense because He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, a cartoon from the 80s, He-Man was the main character, and this is supposed to be a continuation of that series. So yeah, it made logical sense that He-Man would once again be the main character. Now, in interviews from what I've seen online, Kevin Smith did say that there would be a lot more focus on Teela, which led a lot of people to believe that Teela would actually be the main character instead of He-Man. Now, Kevin Smith came back at people saying, no, this show's totally about He-Man, it's totally about He-Man, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then the show came out, and then we all got to see, and the truth is, Teela is the main character. He-Man is not the main character. He's still in the show, but he's not. He was... at first when I saw this, I was like, he lied. And if I had to say how I feel now after, talking to people, and I've watched the whole show, he was definitely being misleading. Because here's the thing, when he says the show is about He-Man, he wasn't necessarily lying about that part. Because the show is about He-Man. Because, once again, spoilers, in the first episode, He-Man dies. And a lot of the episodes to follow are about the world of Eternia, dealing with the fact that they no longer have their champion to protect them, and his friends and family dealing with the grief of losing him like that. So, yes, the show is about He-Man, but Teela is the main character. She's the central character. And is that a bad thing? No. Teela was one of the main characters from the original show, and if we're going to do a show where He-Man is not there to save everybody, there's really two characters that makes most logical sense to center the new story around. It would either be Man-at-Arms or Teela. And they went with Teela. And I don't think that's a bad thing, especially since, Man-at-Arms knew He-Man's secrets, so it'd be a little easy for him to kind of adapt to things. He was already a veteran warrior in the original cartoon. With Teela, she's a veteran too, but she doesn't have the same level of experience, and she didn't know He-Man's secret. So I think it just made sense if we were going to focus on one of the other characters, give them the spotlight, Teela. But regardless about this, because people thought that He-Man was going to be the main character, it's kind of put this shadow over this new show, which is only doing part one. We got 5 episodes. We still have a whole another 5 to go through. But yeah, a lot of people are upset. Some people are reasonably upset. The show was marketed as being a He-Man focused series. And then some people are just being douchebags. I'm sorry, we've all seen this in the fan base, in any fan base. I don't care whether it's Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars. Right now, I think I've said this before at some point, right now there's some Babylon 5 guy losing his crap for no good reason. Every fan base has its toxic fans. I don't care what fan base it is. And the toxic fans are definitely going nuts. But like I said, there are some fans which I get it. Yeah, I didn't like the fact that I was misled. But does that mean the show's bad? Well, let's get into it. So the first episode, and I'm not going to go over every episode in detail, I just want to go over the first one. The first episode is a nostalgic blast. It's He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Orko, Cringer, King Randor, his Queen Marlena? No, I'm going to get in trouble for that. And Teela, and it's Teela's big day. She's been awarded the title Man-at-Arms. You know, she's not only the leader of the Castle Guard and all that stuff, she's reached a title that her father, Duncan, a.k.a. Man-at-Arms, reached earlier in his career. But Skeletor has attacked Castle Grayskull, again, just like he always did, but this time he actually gets inside and he knows the truth of Castle Grayskull and its source of power. So, the sorceress calls He-Man, Adam transforms, goes into battle, all the other Masters of the Universe go in, and Skeletor tricks He-Man into releasing the source of power in Castle Grayskull so he can steal it for himself. And for some reason that translated to him cracking it with his Havoc Staff, which he cracked basically, if I understand it, the source of all magic in Eternia, which is basically, when you crack it, it's basically like igniting a thermonuclear weapon times 10. And basically, all of Eternia is about to be destroyed by the blast of this magical orb. And He-Man saves the day by absorbing the Force through his Sword of Power and into him. And two things happen from this. One, him and Skeletor are caught in the blast and they are vaporized. And He-Man's Sword of Power is split into two swords and gone off to who knows where. And right before He-Man dies from the explosion, he transforms back into his normal form, into Prince Adam. And that's when Teela sees him and realizes that Adam's been He-Man this whole time and that no one told her, and she's, so she's going through some crap that night. They get back to the castle. They inform King Randor that He-Man's died, but King Randor doesn't know his son's He-Man. His wife does. She knew. And when he finds out that his son is dead, he takes out his anger on Man-at-Arms because, literally the last thing he says to his son in the episode is like, something, I forget, it was something along the lines of like, maybe one day you'll make me proud, Adam. So, obviously King Randor is more angry at the fact that he didn't show his son the proper respect he had coming, even though he didn't know he was He-Man. But King Randor banishes Man-at-Arms from the kingdom because he failed to protect Adam, even though it wasn't his fault. Adam, he's He-Man. And he tells Teela that since you're the new Man-at-Arms, I expect you to, take him away, throw him away, and Teela's just like, I just found out my best friend kept the biggest secret of his life from me, and he's dead, and now you're blaming my father, and you're kicking him out of the kingdom despite all these years of service. Screw you, King Randor. Screw the Masters of the Universe. Screw magic that killed my friend. I'm out. I'm done with all this. Boom, she's out. So, yeah, that's the first episode. And it is a ton of fun because we get to see a ton of the old characters. We get to see the battles, all the old kind of like vehicles they had. Skeletor, the Castle Grayskull, Eternios, all that stuff. It's just a fun, nostalgic blast. But then we move on, and we're dealing with a whole kind of stuff. So next episode, they pick it up a few years later. Teela's now a treasure hunter, along with her friend Andra. Teela has a very bad attitude now because of all the traumatic events of the first episode. And Evil Lynn and the Sorceress are now working together, along with Cringer. Cringer's working with them because Eternia is dying. Magic is drying up all over Eternia, but it's not just Eternia, because apparently Eternia is the source of all magic in the universe, so if Eternia dies, the universe goes with it. And the only way to stop this is to get the two separated pieces of He-Man's Sword of Power, reunite them into the sword, and with that sword, they can now restore magic and stop the universal apocalypse. So yeah, and that's where episode 2 takes us. So we're going to talk about the good and the bad here. Let's talk about some of the good first. Okay, first off, something that everybody's agreeing on, the animation. The animation looks great. The battle scenes got this great, impactful energy to them. And I think my favorite piece of animation is Adam transforming into He-Man. When, he holds aloft his magic sword and he says, "By the power of Grayskull." The animation is beautiful. It makes it look like every cell in Adam's body is being infused with ancient cosmic magic. It looks great. I like it all. It's been getting a few Sailor Moon comparisons, in which I kind of get. But how many anime transformations of that were like, oh, they got energy and then they got bits of armor forming on them. But I get the Sailor Moon stuff, but I think it looks really cool. So yeah, the animation is great. Another thing everyone's agreeing about, the voice cast. You got a lot of cool people on this one. You got Henry Rollins playing Triclops. Tila is being played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, aka Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? And playing Skeletor, you've got Mark Hamill, aka Luke Skywalker, aka the Joker. And Mark Hamill is a great voice actor. Besides Star Wars, voice acting is probably what he's most known for. And a lot of people have been saying that his Skeletor sounds a little bit too much like his Joker, which I kind of get, because the original Skeletor was like, He-Man, I will get the secrets of Castle Grayskull. But Mark Hamill Skeletor is like, He-Man, I will get the secrets of Castle Grayskull. So I kind of get where some people are coming about the Joker stuff. I'm kind of, it is a little close to Joker, but I understand Mark Hamill is trying to be, sinister and a little distinctive from the other Skeletor, but not too much, because this is a follow-up. So yeah, that's cool. The story, I like it. We're adding more mature elements, so people who are like now in their late 30s or early to mid 40s who watch the original show can kind of enjoy it a little bit. It's still a show that kids can watch. There are a few creepy moments in there, especially in the second episode. But there are mature elements. I mean, we have characters dealing with grief, the loss of a close friend and ally. Their world is getting darker and it's dying, and they're all like dealing with it, and it's really hard, it all stemmed from this one event, and things have just gotten worse and worse. And I like, and it's about grief and reconciliation and making sacrifices to try to make tomorrow a better day. And I dig all that stuff. Another thing is like the journey they need to go on. In order to save the world, they must find these two swords. One the one sword went to Eternia's version of hell, Subternia, and the other sword went to Preternia, their version of like heaven, or like more like Valhalla, a heaven for champions and warriors and great heroes. They have to find these two swords. They're on a quest. They got to find each sword, reunite them to form the Sword of Power. Now, let's get into some stuff that is bothering me a little bit. Once again, you got the shadow of the misleading of who the main character is, right? Which, once again, I don't think it's a bad idea at all to make Teela the main character of her own show. I just would have been like to have been told ahead of time. With that said, you got that. You also have the quest to take the two swords and reunite them. I felt like it was a bit rushed here in part one, because within just 3 episodes, they get both swords. Grabbing one was a little harder to get than the other, but the other one was pretty easy. It was a reuniting, and that was the difficult part, because throughout the show, characters die. I think a character dies in almost every episode except for maybe episode 3. Did somebody die in episode? Did they kill Merman in episode? Maybe they killed one of his guys. But yeah, we got some characters that get killed in the show. I mean, He-Man dies in the first episode. Mothman gets killed. Trapjaw takes a buzzsaw to the face, but then he's okay the next episode because they just cyborg him up even more. Orko sacrifices himself so the others can escape Subternia and get to Preternia, which they did a lot with Orko. Remember Orko? This is another thing I like. The development of characters. Remember, the original show was just these fun, colorful characters in a fun, colorful fantasy world. They weren't very deep. They weren't very developed. The show was made to sell toys. That's really what it was made for. But nonetheless, it caught the imaginations of kids all over. And the development of these characters, like Orko was just like the annoying comic relief character for a lot of people. But in this one, he's a sympathetic character. I think they definitely took a few notes from the 2002 He-Man reboot, where like they did a little bit more with Orko's background there. But then when he sacrificed himself, you got to make you feel a little bit. Now, Orko might not be dead. They might be setting it up where he survived. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, so characters are dying all over the place. And that can be a little off-putting for some people, I think. But as long as a character death can be done right and wrong, of course. Like a lot of people didn't like how Han Solo was killed off in The Force Awakens, for instance. But with Orko's death, it happens. He goes out heroically to buy his friends time. and his friends grieve. In the next episode, we see them take a moment to show respect. And that's important. And it's the people who are close to him. As to, with Han Solo, we see Rey and Finn react to it, but we want to see Leia grieving. We want to see Luke grieving. Leia kind of has a moment, but we never have that. Anyway, but yeah, so that might throw off some people. I think most of the deaths are fine, except for maybe just Moss Man, which I know Moss Man wasn't one of the most favorite characters. He wasn't hated, but they just kill him as a motivation point for He-Man. But yeah, other things that bother me, like saying, the two swords are found, reunited only a few episodes. It felt like it was going to be like the first part was going to be finding one sword, and the next part, which is yet to be released, is going to be getting the other sword. However, it just felt a little rushed. One sword was kind of difficult to get because they had to go through Scareglow, I guess he's the ruler of Subternia. And then in the next episode, they get to heaven, Adam's there, and he just gives them the other sword. Easy peasy. But once again, reuniting the swords was a difficult part, and Roboto dies reuniting the two swords. So yeah, the quest felt rushed. The quest felt rushed. And most importantly, let's get to this. Let's talk about Teela being the main character. A lot of people are upset right now because Teela is just too angry all the time. And here's what I have to say about that. Teela's anger, her frustration, her attitude makes sense. Remember, in one night, she lost her best friend, found out her best friend had been keeping a huge secret from her, and then her king, who she has pledged her loyalties to since who knows how long, years ago, banished her father for bullshit reason, and expected her to be the one to lead him out of the kingdom. I mean, I understand why she's got a chip on her shoulder. He-Man's gone, and she doesn't feel like she can be the hero that she thought she could be anymore. And, she's angry at Adam for keeping the secret, and just her father looks like it's kind of giving up a little bit, and it makes sense. However, I will say, as the episodes go on, it does get annoying in a few places, especially by the fifth episode when they get to heaven and meet Adam, and I can understand her wanting an apology from Adam for not telling her about his secret, but she's still angry and I get that happens sometimes when someone dies unexpectedly. Their grief happens, and there's this feeling of anger at them, they went out to have a drink and they drove drunk and they got killed, and you're angry at them because why aren't you still here? What if you just she's well, why didn't you tell me you were He-Man? I could have helped you, and you should have told us. We've had to deal with your death. Well, you got to hang out here in heaven. But it just comes off a little petty because he sacrificed himself to save the planet. So I once again, the anger makes sense. The frustration, the attitude. It's just that by the fifth episode, it's just you want her to forgive Adam a little bit. She was why didn't you tell me? You're my best friend. I've been grieving for you, and I just need to know, why didn't you tell me? So the last thing I'll say is, and this is something is not really more of a critique, but another thing people bring up so they reforged the sword. Adam decides to go back to the world of the living with them, but he's told by the other champions in Preternia that if you go, you don't automatically get back in when you die again. It's not guaranteed. If the next time you die, you might just die, and that's it. Your soul doesn't go anywhere. So I guess Eternia is an atheist planet. We have a heaven for champions, but we don't have any afterlife. We have a heaven for champions. We have a hell. Even though I didn't see anybody down in hell, I guess Subternia is just a place. But when other people die, they don't get to go anywhere? Okay. But he says, no, I have to help out. Something's wrong. The others aren't telling me. Things are bad. I got to go back down. He goes back down. He takes the sword. By the power of Grayskull, he summons the power of Grayskull, and it restores the magic orb, thus restoring magic to Eternia. We did it. The universe isn't going to be destroyed. And then, pow! Skeletor comes out of nowhere and impales Adam. He just got back from the dead 2 minutes ago, and he's just stabbed. Impaled. And then Skeletor grabs the Sword of Power. He summons the power of Grayskull, and then he becomes like this mega Skeletor with Skeletor with the power of He-Man. A lot of people are upset that they killed Adam again, but I don't think he's dead. I rewatched that scene, and the last time you see Adam, he doesn't have like that relaxed, the face when in movies and TV they're like they're dead. He has this look of pain on his face still, so I don't think Adam's dead. He's gravely injured, no doubt. Skeletor just shanks him, but he's not dead. So, but I don't think he's dead, unless it was confirmed by Kevin Smith or Netflix or whatever. Then, yeah. But yeah, so I don't think he's dead. Anyway, overall, what do I think of Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1? Overall, I've enjoyed the show. It's got some flaws. Like I said, things feel rushed with the quest. And yeah, there are times Teela's anger just comes off as annoying, but it's not all the time. Everyone's acting like everything. Why is she angry? It's it's understandable why she's angry. But I will admit, I want to see her loosen up just a little bit with the anger. And I don't mean loosen up. It's oh, Adam, I was so wrong. You're the greatest hero of all time. I am ashamed for my anger. No, it's just I spent a lot, just to be honest with the guy. I spent a lot of time being angry at you. I don't want to be angry at you, but you kept a secret from me. But I want, she wants to put it behind her because she's had multiple conversations with other characters about Adam at this point, and it's just time to loosen up a bit. Yeah. So that we got character development from a lot of the characters, which is great. The animation's great, all that stuff. So overall, yeah, I'm enjoying Masters of the Universe. It has its stall parts. I think episode 3, ironically, when they're in hell, was the worst episode. It had some cool moments, but overall I was they did the whole oh, you're hallucinating your greatest fear thing. Oh, I haven't seen that before a million times. But yeah, so far, yeah, I like it. I don't like it a lot. I like it. I'm eager to see what's going to happen in part 2. A lot of people are saying, oh, Teela's going to take the Sword of Power and she's going to be He-Woman or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they're setting her up to replace the Sorceress because that's her destiny. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I wish it's not blowing me away, but I'm enjoying it. So yeah, if you've heard it's completely trash, I disagree. I don't think it's completely trash or a little bit trash. Once again, it's got its flaws, but overall, I think it's a nice show. I'm just hoping for a big, great part 2. Because they're kind of screwed. I mean, they were screwed before, but now they're just a different kind of screwed. But anyway, yeah, those are my thoughts on Masters of the Universe Revelation. Alright, everybody, you know the drill. Down in the comments, tell me what you're thinking. Are you enjoying the show? Are you hating the show? Do you think I'm making good points? Do you think I'm full of BS? Either which way, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. It helps out a lot more than you think. And if you want to catch more of my videos in the future, of course, click the subscribe button. Until next time, take it easy.